Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable's After Dark show. I'm joined with my hosts, Vanessa Collins, Ted Ings, and Jean Ings this evening. And we are joined by a lot of friends of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We have a full house this evening. We have Ashley Norton from BLiNK AI, as well as Dave Perry. And then two of our consistent friends who you always see in the chat and in the comments everywhere. We have Sean Kingery and Jim Savino. Welcome, everyone.
Good evening.
That's a good word, consistent.
Yes, very consistent.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, everybody.
Happy
Dave, welcome, and Ashley, welcome to After Dark.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. It's great to be here with you guys.
Great honor to have you. Ashley, there's a backstory here about BLiNK AI, so I don't know how much you want to share with the audience tonight, but tell us what you can if you don't mind.
About the backstory of BLiNK AI?
Well, how we got here, yes.
So BLiNK AI, our founders started in 2019. They were trying to solve a very common problem for dealers, which is customers abandoning their web schedulers. And they launched a simple Facebook scheduler, and that grew into a relationship with Toyota, and that grew into, hey, can you do this? And can you develop this? And now we have a massive AI platform complete with conversational intelligence, service campaigns, a couple bells and whistles like our service score feature and service to sales leads. So it's pretty incredible. This was our coming out year at NADA.
Wow. And Dave, you didn't just get anybody, you got the best with Ashley.
Yeah, I think that's the real backstory here, Ted. We've been hard at it for a few years, and we were very fortunate to grab Ashley in December. So she came on board, jumped through hoops to get us ready for our first NADA. So you can imagine the bullets we were sweating when the snowstorm hit New Orleans. I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to us here? But yeah, pulled a rabbit out of a hat, and Ashley's great. We're all excited about having her on board.
Thank you.
Oh.
So tell us, everybody, how'd that go? NADA, I was not there. Katrina, Vanessa, Jim, Sean, you were all there as well.
Well, I think it's only fair that the story starts with Ashley, because Ashley has a story to tell. Go ahead, Ashley.
My luggage story?
Yeah, the luggage story.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so our flights were all starting to get canceled one after another, like most of everyone traveling in. Sorry, I'm also under the weather a little bit from playing in the snow in New Orleans. But my team, most of my team, we rebooked our flights and flew into Jackson together. I flew to Jackson from Charlotte by way of Dallas, and my bags flew about 4 hours behind me. So we hopped in the rental car and I just hit the road. Like I had to go. So the bags made it to Jackson, and then they did not make it to New Orleans. They made it back to Dallas and back to Jackson and then to Charlotte. And then for some reason back to Jackson and then back to Charlotte last night. So I was without all of my, girly stuff, my hair products, my everything for, 6 days. It was wild. Wow. That bag has seen some things.
For sure. Oh my gosh, as a female too, like I just cannot imagine, not having makeup, hair tools, all the outfits that you planned. Oh, that's genuinely a nightmare. But
my team rallied around me. People, complete strangers several days ago became, my ladies who were loaning me their pants.
That's the magic of the idea, bringing everybody together, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Ashley, this was you said 8th?
This
an
is
ADA?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. So what, with the weather and, all the circumstances that happened for this NADA, what did you notice that was kind of different this year versus past years?
For me, it was like the vibe, right? Everybody fought like crazy to get there, and everybody wanted to be there, from the vendors to the dealers and Jim and Sean. And so we all felt like it just had a family vibe. You know, we were one industry. We weren't competitors, and you know, I can imagine it's often pretty impactful for someone like Sean or Jim to walk into the showroom floor at NADA and be faced with hundreds of vendors just staring you in the face, wanting to give you a demo. But this year didn't feel like that. They were seeking us out. They were coming by. We opened at noon on Friday, and by 2:00, I was like, "Holy cow! I think we've seen 30 different groups with 2 OEMs in the booth." I mean, it was just people wanted to talk to us, and it was amazing for a coming out party.
Gene, you missed out.
I sure did. I know. I'm enjoying hearing all the different stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stories. And I agree, like you said, Ashley, you know, those who wanted to be there were there. I know I heard so many crazy stories about, I mean, even our faculty at Northwood alone, driving from Michigan all the way to New Orleans in a rental car, hit a deer on the way.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So many different stories, you know, people flying here to get here, to get here, to get a rental car to drive here. It's like, wow. But it truly shows, you know, the perseverance of this industry and of the individuals that wanted to be there. And I'm sure there were many individuals that, you know, just truly couldn't make it. But a lot of people, they had a will and they found a way. So I
And
definitely.
that's what we had one of our, I think the secret, and again, I attribute this to Ashley and the team, but we had pre-booked a lot of our meetings already. So we weren't really dependent on a lot of this the traffic flow, which was pretty light on Friday.
Sure.
But we had one dealer group that literally could not get in. And so they called us up while we were in the booth and said, can we just jump on a Teams call and to kind of do a virtual session? We did that, spent about 45 minutes with them on the phone, and they ended up signing up 10 other rooftops right there at the moment. So it was like, wow. And so that to me, that was a real signal to the points that Ashley was making earlier, that the group that did come, they were there for doing business.
Definitely. And I'm sure with it being such poor weather, and you know, in advance, we were all like, oh my gosh, like all the flights are getting canceled. We're following the forecast. As a first year company at NAD, that was probably really stressful for BLiNK AI as well, right?
Yeah. The expense, the investment, the time, you know, building up our team's excitement. Our team was stoked to be there for the first time. And then as soon as flights started getting canceled, I was like, what is going to happen? Right. At the very least, I thought at least all the vendors are going to make it in, but maybe it's just going to be us.
Right. Sure. And Sean and Jim, what about you for the dealer side? Did you notice anything different this year at NADA versus past years?
Yeah, Jim, I'll take that first. I mean, you know, Kath and I got diverted, by the way, just like everybody else did. We had to fly into Gulfport, Mississippi, and rent a car. And I got to tell you, which is normally should be an hour drive, took us about 3. And we talked to Ted a couple different times on that. Guys, we saw some parts of New Orleans that nobody ever needs to see again. And as we were probably about a mile and a half away from downtown, one of the bridges iced up again, and they closed it. And as they closed it, there was 2 cop cars that blocked it. And we were in a very not so nice neighborhood too. I got a car and I said, what do I do? And this female officer stepped out and goes, you go onto the viaduct, which I've got pictures I won't show here. Let me tell you of how horrible. But we drove the rental car. And when she goes, you're going to go down this road, take 3 rights. And her exact words were, and don't stop. And she goes, I don't care what the color of the lights are. Don't stop. And that's how we got downtown. But to Ashley's point, I agree. I think the attendance, if I was guessing, was probably 50%. And I say that when we got done talking to Ashley and when I saw Dave over at their booth, we were at the very next row over, and that's where Ron Overs was there. Both girls were there. Mark Mickens were there. John Fairchild was there. There was a big group. And, guys, we were standing in the middle of one of the aisles. And we were talking. And my comment was, guys, normally during NADA, you'd have got ran over. Yes, that's where we all were, right? When that picture was taken.
Right there. Okay.
Yes, right there. Guys, you see where we're actually in the aisle there. And during a normal NADA,
it's not busy.
You got trampled, okay? Now, this was Friday. Saturday was better than Friday because it was very obvious more people made it in as the airport opened up and I-10 opened back up. But Ashley, I think, hit it dead on. The family feel that if you wanted to be there, you got there. If you didn't, you didn't. I mean, it's a really good way to put it. Sorry, Jim, go ahead, buddy.
No, that's all right. So just to continue on the theme is that kind of everybody had a story, whether you were a vendor, executive from one of the big manufacturers or dealership personnel or owners. Everybody had a story. There was cancellations, diversions, delays, everything and above. And then once you finally did land or get to New Orleans, there were major thoroughfares. The main highway was closed because it was snow, and the bridges were frozen. So, they haven't had snow in, I think, 115 years or so. So they have no plows, no shovels, no salt trucks, none of the above. So, and to Sean's point about driving some of the side roads, you are 100% accurate. It's somewhere you don't want to be. It's and it's only a couple of blocks on the outside from where we are or were, and you don't want to go down there. But anyway, if you were there, if you made the trip, you were there for a reason. You were dedicated. You were on a mission. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, there was so much better quality of one-on-one discussions with the customer, the dealer personnel, with the vendors. There was quality time. So, Sean, you made a comment about 50%. NADA came out with a statistic about 35% of the registered attendees did not attend the show. So you just think about that, 35% of a no-show. And that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. But it gave the people that were there so much better quality. Like Dave, you were saying that you made appointments. Everybody was booking, a week, 2 weeks ahead. Most of the interactions were walk-ups. There were walk-ups. The appointments were kind of, if I made an appointment for 2 and I was passing your booth at 11, I was greeted. I was, gracefully greeted at the, while walking by the booth and say, come on in. What do you got? What's your name? Where, how can I help you? Let me show you the demo. Let me ask you answer some questions for you. And it was really quality time because there wasn't a rush. There wasn't herds and herds of people. Like Sean was saying, when they took that picture, there would have been people in front of you, sideways, behind you. It was complete. Walking around there was very nice. You weren't rushed. You had plenty of room. You could see basically every booth, all the setups. So it was nice, other than the stories. But the people were there. Once they arrived, they were happy and like, okay, I got this. We're here. We're going to make it. I got 2.5 days here, 3 days. I'm going to make this count. See the people that are here that I know, see the vendors I came to see, go to the events in the evenings and see Blake Shelton or whoever it is that you're going to see. There was a lot of cool things going on, little private parties and everything else. The BLiNK AI party, there was a lot going on. I heard there was I missed it, but there was a stunning karaoke show that I missed. I heard was pretty cool. But other than that, listen, it was great. The people that were there came to do business, and it was a great feeling. As Ashley said, it's a really good, tight feeling from everybody.
Yeah,
I think you're right, Jim. I noticed one of the things is even though maybe the quantity of the visits went down a bit, but the quality went way up. In fact, oftentimes people would come for an initial visit, go off and think about it, and come back either later that day or even the next day, and they're like, "Okay, I want to follow back up on this. I got more questions." And you did have the opportunity and the time to be able to engage deeply with them. So I think it's going to affect the quality of the after show engagements as well. So.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, Ashley and Dave, what kind of questions did you get at the booth?
Well, for me, it was a lot of answering questions about AI. AI was clearly a big draw this year. It was on everyone's mind, but I think in a lot of cases, it's on my mind, but I don't know why it's on my mind. I don't know exactly what it is. What is AI? How does it affect me? Can I go buy a pound of AI and bring it back to my dealership, or how does it get deployed? And so to me, having that time to talk with people and explain how we use AI really in the customer engagement framework to really discover intent, to have better quality conversations with the customer so we understand what it is they're trying to achieve, so we can get them to the right place and get them booked with the right level of service quickly, and then do the follow-up with them as well. And once you kind of explain it in that terms that, yeah, we're an AI company. We don't sell just AI. We sell solutions that are that are built around an AI platform, then a lot of the explanations tended to sink in, I think, and allowed us to really talk a lot more in depth about how it impacts the dealers' KPIs.
There we go. It's interesting to hear even with all the mishaps with the weather, all the new opportunities that spur up because of it, and hearing all the different stories, it's just been super inspiring. Katrina, Vanessa, as you guys are, maybe some of the younger crowd to be there, tell me a little bit about your experience at NADI.
Definitely. I've really enjoyed the positive outlook that Dave mentioned, as well as Jim and even Sean, about like the people that were there wanted to be there. Ashley talked about it too. And I think that's the hottest topic that has came out of it, and the biggest perspective. And I love a positive outlook always, because, we hear the bad stuff. We have the bad idea coming into it, like, the attendance rate's going to be down, but turning that into a positive thing and thinking of, the conversations are more meaningful and we're getting more out of it. That's the best way to look at it. I thought it was definitely a little bit slower this year than we've experienced in the past, but I think overall Vanessa and I had a wonderful time at this NADI. We did something that we didn't do at the other ones that we've been to, which was we worked a lot with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, got to meet so many people, including Ashley and Dave for the very first time in person. So just these different opportunities that we get to do when running around, again, with the Fixed Ops Roundtable and doing these interviews. It's always such a great experience because we build this large community online, but being able to see everyone in person is so different. And it's just like such a good feeling to interact face to face.
Definitely. And I think everything happens for a reason. So keeping that positive outlook, not only afterwards, but at the show itself. I think a lot of people did have a positive outlook, which was really refreshing. From a student perspective, our peers at Northwood University were running around, trying to make connections with all these different vendors. And so I think the lower traffic was actually beneficial to our students because they gave us more time to, make those connections and meet people within the booths. Like when I stopped at my, previous internship, CDK Global, I was able to talk to so many people that I met this past summer just through, interning with the company. I think, and the reasoning I was able to talk to them for so long was probably because of like the lower traffic. So that was definitely a positive side for the students. But yeah, Katrina and I spent, the full show day on Friday and Saturday, running around from booth to booth, doing our interviews, reconnecting with many friendly faces, and also meeting new ones. So, and then it was also fun to, see people outside of the expo center, such as Dave and Ashley. We saw you out at a restaurant. We got some good food. And so it was so fun to run into you guys. But yeah, overall, I mean, I loved it. It was such a good experience. I enjoyed this one better than my previous one, just because I really loved the work that we did with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, having that schedule and being able to just, truly connect with so many different people and execute those interviews and learn everything that we can and soak in information. So yeah, it was a really great experience, and we definitely persevered and made the best out of it.
And the oysters were amazing.
Yes, they were. They were.
Now I'm hungry.
We need some good New Orleans food. They did have good food, I'll tell you that.
Ooh.
Yes, they did. Yes.
The lower attendance probably made it a little easier to get in to as well. I can imagine what it would have been like to get into many of those restaurants if everyone had made it. So,
oh, absolutely.
If you didn't make it, yeah, the oysters were really good. So,
yes.
Sean, your thoughts?
There's no such thing as a good oyster. Is that where I can start? Or no? I think we've all visited. We talk about AI. If there was a theme to the deal, the whole event, I think, and I'm not just saying it because they're on the screen with us. Obviously, AI is the conversation, guys. Everybody's talking about it. For those of us that do panels, Ron Over likes to blindside us with questions about it, and for those that struggle, and if you don't mind, I'm going to turn this to Dave and Ashley.
Yeah,
guys, what was the main questions, and I guess what are the answers, especially this week, guys, with the NASDAQ taking the hit on the chips? We got to talk about it. I mean, obviously, it's on the forefront of everybody's news. Where is AI? Where are we at? What's it look like? Especially, and I'm going to be very candid, for the dealers that have failed at AI thus far, and I'm one of those, by the way.
right.
Tilly Williams and myself. No, Sarah, I don't enjoy Southern. I'm a steak and tater guy. But anyway, by the way, I was forced to try crocodile for the first time, and that stuff is it just never goes away. But anyway, what does AI look like in the future? What's next? And to my point, for those of us that are a little resistant because we tried a version of AI and got bit pretty hard, and I'm going to throw Tolly's name out there because I know I can. We both got hit pretty hard with it, so we're a little resistant. So what's next?
So I think a lot of the questions that we got, and I mean, you guys are familiar with me here, you know my background. A lot of the questions that we got is, how are you guys different? Because there's a ton of players entering this space very, very quickly. And while this was our coming out party, we're not new at this rodeo. We've been developing our platform for 6 years. And we were ready to go. And we would have never joined NADA if we weren't ready to go. We're the new guys, but we're not. We have 240 some dealers already live with us. We already have OEM partnerships. But what makes us different is that we're, and this is how I learned this from Dave. We're solving the problem in the service drive far upstream before the customer has to call the dealership. If you can simplify your web scheduler so that you don't have to, I don't have to go on your website and tell you my year, make, model, trim level, my mileage, what type of gas I need. I mean, I'm on some where I'm having to pick my own op code. If you can simplify that process, then less customers are forced to call the dealership because they just hang up on the computer and call the phone and call the dealership. So then you're reducing the calls that even have to come, but then the AI can still handle the calls for your routine stuff while you're freeing up your staff to do the difficult. And I think that's where we stand out from the other AI platforms is we're not a Band-Aid, we're a solution.
Wow.
Yeah, I think way that I like to put it is that a lot of the companies, particularly the new ones that are entering, because there's lots of LLMs now, OpenAI now, you've got DeepSeek, you've got all these things that they're generating really incredible large language models, and they're just fronting them with some sort of a chat bot or a conversational AI, and people believe that, okay, that's what AI is. It's just me talking to some robotic thing, and it may be hallucinating and start negotiating car deals while I'm trying to book an appointment. And I think the point is it's much deeper than that. That's just one component of it. What we're trying to do is ascertain information that the customer is trying to portray. I mean, we're an engagement system, so it's really important for us to understand what the customer's original intent is so that we can direct them and get them in connection with the right services at the dealership. But it's also about communicating things in a way they understand, so that if we're trying to bring somebody back into the dealership for some sort of declined service that they had, we need to be able to explain, why is this important to you? We don't just say you need a fluid flush. We explain why it's important to you. And we use AI to be able to associate things, multiple things that are happening with the person's car, including with now telematics that we're introducing now this quarter, so that we're actually monitoring the performance of the car directly. And so we know the car needs service even before probably the user does, and we can inform them and explain what's wrong and get them into the dealership. Our role is really less about the sizzle and it's about the steak. We want to impact the dealer's revenue. We want to see their gross profit increase. We want to see more ROs. We want to see more appointments so that they can schedule those appointments through the day and not have a big mass of people at the front end of the line in the morning, all competing for the same level of resources. So the customer benefits, the dealer benefits, and ultimately the brand does as well, because it's that best user experience that you can get. And so trying to explain that to folks in a way that they finally, you can see their eyes light up. And they, okay, I get it now. That's a good moment to have.
Definitely. And I think that's so important, going back to Sean's point, how some dealers, it's hard for them to adapt to AI, or they try it and they don't find that they like it. So I think diving into the deep explanation on it and how it's a solution, it's not a Band-Aid, like Ashley said, I think is important, and really, selling a dealer on that and seeing how they can benefit from it.
Who's that, Gene?
We've got a surprise guest on. This is Phoebe.
Cameo.
Okay. Oh, cute.
Jim, your thoughts? You're pretty popular here in the chat too.
Well, listen, the AI is what you make out of, right? So it's the BLiNK AI. It's an AI assistant. It's there to assist the humans. It doesn't take over or replace the humans. You still in customer service, and what we've been calling lately, Sean, we are in the hospitality business also, right? So that's a big buzzword for us. AI exists to assist us to perform a high level of customer engagement, customer service, customer retention. It's all there. So if it runs in the background, it's 24/7. The BLiNK booth was buzzing with a lot of people. There was a lot of quality customers there in that booth, seeing the demos, asking the questions. I was there a little bit on Friday. I was there a little bit on Saturday, and it's great. And what David just said, if you call for an appointment to your dealership and BLiNK AI is partnered up with you, and it asks you to make an appointment, and you pick like 8:30 on a morning, it'll suggest that might be a high wait time, and the AI suggests another time in the same day, but just a different time to reduce the wait time. I mean, just really when you think about those little thought processes, me as a customer looking through the lens of the customer and listening to that means so much, that they're actually valuing your time and suggesting a time that may be quicker to get in and out. Things like that make a big difference. So it's always going to remain an assistant, an AI assistant, to assist the human perform at a higher level and more efficiently. Am I being pretty accurate?
You nailed it, Jim. Yeah, you nailed it really well.
All right,
and I'll say too that
I'll send you my resume.
You're already hired. Don't you worry.
You don't have to send the resume.
It's not cheap.
So Sean, if you had a bad time with it, I get Tully did too. I didn't know that Tully did. I've heard you speak in the past that you're hesitant because you kind of had a bad experience. It helps, but you have to find the right fit for your dealership, and you have full control when you engage with a company, BLiNK AI or another company. You have full control of how you set up the cadence and what it does, the intervals and how many times it responds to a customer and the key words that triggers different actions. So there's so much behind the scenes, and it does help. It tremendously helps. You just have to get the right fix, and your team has to really be trained on how it works and how to expect the reaction from the AI assistant and how it sends the calls and the customers. Scheduling, it just, nobody falls through the cracks. It really, I mean, that's no customer, if the AI bot it's not a bot, if the AI engages, it'll never fall through the cracks. It'll always try and make that appointment and then follow up, whether it sends a link or it directly makes the appointment real time into your scheduler. So that there's so many great positive points to it. You have to get the right company. BLiNK AI has a great product. But it works really well. And I was glad to be out there and see them in person and see the other dealers and the dealer principals and other personnel engage with them. I heard a lot of the conversations. And Dave, I'm going to tell you one thing, and Ashley, we'll just 10 seconds, Dave. I went back. I was there Friday. Ashley introduced me to a couple of the team, Mercedes, Steve. And I went back on Saturday to check on her and ask her about her luggage. And as I was walking towards the booth, she wasn't there. As I was walking towards the booth, Mercedes came out and greeted me by my name. I met her for 5 to 10 minutes the day before. So think about all the people that she met throughout the day. And then before I got there on Saturday, and then right behind her, Steve came out, shook my hand, called me by my name. Amazing. Blew me away. Really impressive.
Ashley, you got a short video here to kind of recap everything and close us out tonight. Tell us what this is all about.
Yeah, so we were able to capture a ton of fun video and imagery and some of the fun things that were happening, the parades and the impersonators. And so we captured a lot. And there's one, my favorite part of the video is at one point, every single one of our salespeople in the booth, including Mercedes, who's on our customer support team, and our CTOs, I think even Dave is in the video, every single person is in an in-depth conversation with 2 to 3 people at the same time. So we do a walk around of the booth, and it was phenomenal.
We're going to show that to close it out. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Dave Perry and Ashley Norton. BLiNK AI is the new name. Jim Sabino, Sean Kingery, Gene Ings, thank you as well. All right, here we go.
Bye, friends.
Ted, do you want to try it on your end?
Everywhere, everybody, this is the NADA, and it's going to be great again.